MSI CloudPM Property Management System is a web-based solution that uses true cloud technology. Access is through high-speed internet connection and requires only a URL, customer code, username, and password. When you log into CloudPM, you'll be taken to your login screen. And these login screens can be set based off of individuals. And that can be set up in your security. We'll talk about that in just a couple of moments. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see all of the different modules that are available in CloudPM. Let's click on GM functions for a moment and talk a little bit more about access. Under the Security and Permissions section, there is the ability to restrict certain computers to be able to access CloudPM. We also can go ahead and restrict users through the security user function to access remote access. Also on this page, you'll also see the modules in which an individual may be able to access, the landing page, and whether or not the individual has override rights within the software. Message Manager in CloudPM allows for certain system events to take place and then allow information to be either sent to management, individuals, or to a guest. From the example that you see here, we have at close day, based on a pattern, either weekly, monthly, or daily, that certain reports are being emailed out to either a group or to an individual. We can also turn around and have messages sent to guests. So for example, there is at guest checkout here, we're sending an email of a guest folio to the guest at the time of checkout. Rate tiering is also available in CloudPM. And what this does is this allows for rates to be affected based off of occupancy. So for example, on this particular screen, at the very bottom you'll see rate tiers. So that when occupancy in this scenario is set up between 0 and 44%, we are reducing the rack rate by $5. You'll notice that we also could decrease it by a percentage if we so desire. Rack rate will be charged between 45 and 65.99%, and anything above 66% will increase, have an increase in rate of $15 on this particular rate code. This is basic rate tiering, but there's also the availability of custom rate tiering, where you can have 10 different levels if you so desire. Another form of yield management in CloudPM exists in our reservation module. On the very top of the screen on the left-hand side, you'll see Daily Rate Manager. Clicking on Daily Rate Manager brings you up to a screen with default rate codes, room types, and a default calendar. We can go in and we can change the rate code, the room type, and we can also show a different starting date of our calendar. If we go up to June 1st, for example, click on our refresh button, we now see a whole bunch of numbers and a whole bunch of different colors on our screen. Choosing the little button beside the View Rates and Availability for Selection option gives us a better idea of what we are looking at on this particular screen. Anything showing in a green background means that we have 50% or greater availability within the hotel. 25% and greater up to 50% will show in yellow. And less than 25% will show in kind of a pinkish color. Anything that's sold out will show in purple. The numbers affected on this particular screen, the large number, represents the total number of rooms that we have in the hotel. The dollar figure, located right underneath, shows us what is our average daily rate for the room type that we are showing at the very top of the screen. And it's also going ahead and showing us the smaller number, how many rooms we have available of that particular room type. So for example, on the 9th of June, if we're looking at wanting to increase our rate, we can go to the little magnifying glass that's located over to the right-hand side of the June 9th date. And we will be seeing then a grid of all of the room types and the rates for rack for that particular date, and also for the default room type. If we're looking at going ahead and wanting to raise the rates, and we'll say we want to raise them over 2 days, we can choose an end date, and we also can go in and choose other rate codes besides rack if we so desire. We can also go in and choose other room types besides the QQ and S in this case. If we wanted to go ahead and select all, we could go ahead and select the all box at the top of the screen. If this is over an extended period of time and we want this to be effective, let's say every weekend, then we can go in and we can choose the weekend as our option in the drop-down under day of week to update. If we want to do all days, we have an option to also choose the all days option. The next field allows us to go in and do increase of rates or decrease of rates based on a dollar figure or a percentage. So if we're looking at increasing rates and we want to increase them, let's say, by $20, we can go ahead and enter a currency amount here of $20. Clicking on the preview button will go ahead and update our grid. If we like what we see, we can go ahead and save it. If we want to go in and maybe take a different option, for example, we want to go in and try it by a percentage, we can go ahead and click on the radio button and maybe choose to increase it possibly by 10%. Clicking on the preview button at the top of the screen then gives us an update of what a 10% increase would be for all our room types from the date of 6/9 through to 6/10 for, in this case, our rack rate. If we like what we see, then we can go ahead and put this change into effect by clicking on the Save button. It also should be noted that we also can go in, if we wanted to, and set a rate amount right across the board by choosing the option at the very bottom of the screen where it says Set Rate Amount and filling in our 1-person, 2-person, 3-person, and 4-person rate. Once we've saved this and we've closed out of this particular screen, then you'll notice that what will happen is we will have an update for the dates affected. So we can see now that the rate is increased for the 9th and the 10th. Changes within this particular screen are also logged. We click on the Change Log button at the very top of the screen, and we choose to decide what option we want to go ahead and see who made whatever rate changes on a particular date. Clicking on the Refresh button, in this case, will show us who made the change and at what time and on what date. Selecting any one of the different options as you go down the screen here shows you exactly what rate change was put into effect. There is also an option to print your daily rooms and ADR report as well at the very top of the screen. Any booking rules that are in effect will also be available on this particular screen. Rate quote is another functionality in our reservation module that is very popular. From here, getting some very basic information from your customer then provides you an opportunity to quote a rate based off of the information they've provided you. So for example, if a guest is looking at arriving on the 5th, they're wanting to stay 2 nights, they're asking whether or not AAA rate is available, and based off the number of adults, you're now in a position to be able to go ahead and click on the View Rates button. Once this comes up, you're going to see a grid that offers you some information that you can then relay to your customer. For example, it'll give you the room types, the description of each room type, the average rate, what it will cost full stay, estimated taxes, and an estimated total. The column under Rooms Avail shows color coding based off of the same as a traffic light. Green means go, so if you have over 10 or more of a particular room type available, it'll show in green. Anything under 10, down to 1, will show in yellow, meaning that you proceed with caution as you're getting close to the end of your inventory of those particular room types. And then, of course, when you hit 0 or negative numbers, the background will show in red. You'll also see any booking rules that happen to be in effect. And you'll also be able to go ahead, if you have the ability, to override rooms that are not available, or to go in and make a reservation from this particular screen. If it happens to be the same day as the business date, then you'll also have an option to be able to do a walk-in. The little plus sign beside the room types goes in and gives you more information regarding each daily rate. So if there is a rate change through a 7-day period of time, this will be displayed through this detail of the next 7 days. The Details button to the right gives you a start and end date in which the rate is in effect, and then when the next rate change will take place. This is helpful, especially if you're looking at trying to provide information to a guest who's maybe coming in for a longer period of time. CloudPM, as one of its features, offers functionality for waitlist. If you were to go in and want to make a new reservation, the room type requested by the guest is not available, then it offers you an option to put a guest on a wait list. And you can choose the priority level, which you create within the database of CloudPM. So if this guest is a high priority that you really want to try to get them into this particular room on this particular date, then we can go ahead and pull up our guest. If they stayed with you previously, then they should be in your database that you should be able to access. Confirming that this is the guest that you're talking to on the phone. In this case, it requires a res source. And then you can go in and you can save your reservation. There are reports within CloudPM that allows you to pull up a list of waitlisted customers. And you then can go in and determine as to whether or not you actually want to take them off the wait list and provide them with a room. Once you access the reservation, along the ribbon bar along the top, you'll see the wait list button. You'll see the yellow background, which then allows you to go ahead and click on this, at which time you will get a message coming up asking you whether you want to move this guest from a wait list to a reservation status. Clicking on the Yes button will allow you to do so, removing the yellow from behind the wait list button and allowing you then to go ahead and save your reservation. Reports in CloudPM can be viewed, printed, exported, as well as emailed. Several different reports will also have options as it relates to things like filters. Several of the reports have options to choose drop-downs or to choose radio buttons. Let's take a look at the group module. One nice thing about the group module within CloudPM is the ability to be able to utilize a couple of different things. First of all, there is a group check-in option. So as long as the criteria on the screen is being met, then you would be able to go in and check in your group with one button. When the group is ready to depart, there is also an option to be able to go in and do a group checkout. Again, as long as all of the criteria is being met, then you would be able to check out this group with one button. Also, in our group functionality, we can set shoulder date. So for example, if people want to arrive earlier and stay later than the actual dates of the group, then the user can go in and set up shoulder date. By checking the box to allow shoulder dates for group bookings, you can go in and you can set a rate that is maybe different than the group rate a couple of days prior to, as well as being able to set a date after departure in which you may offer a particular special discount. An auto-release option is also available in the group functionality within CloudPM. By clicking on the auto-release option up here on our ribbon bar, a little orange box will appear behind our auto-release button. In this situation, what is transpiring is the cutoff date here of 5/23. If there are no rooms that have not been picked up on this particular date, they will automatically be released back into the general inventory. This functionality is group specific. So if you decide that you want to put an auto release on some groups but not on others, you have the option to be able to do that. Clicking on the auto release option puts it into a status where it requires that a manual release of any rooms that have not been picked up with the block. Profiles within CloudPM allow for tracking, and it can be done in several different ways. If guests have stayed with you before, you can go in and you can find out exactly how much business they've been giving you. At the same time, too, you're also able to go in and make reservations very quickly through CloudPM, as previously shown. We go into this particular guest record that we have within our profile. It will show you at the very top of the screen, under our ribbon bar, the total number of stays, revenue, nights, and then an average as well, too. Corporate accounts can be tracked as well. We can go into this particular account, and then we're able to see any sort of year-to-date or period-to-date revenue based on this particular company. We can also go in and we can also set a default rate code if we so desire. So if you've locally negotiated a rate with a particular company, then you have the option to be able to add that particular rate code from our drop-down list. It should be noted that every single module within CloudPM has online documentation. By clicking under the Help section, you'll be taken to an area that provides online videos, as well as any new software releases, also software release notes. The training guides are useful if going in and wanting to get information about a particular area within CloudPM. So for example, if you wanted to go in and see how to do shared reservations, then you can go ahead and click on this particular option, and it will take you into the user guide for sharing within CloudPM. Videos can be found on the right-hand side of the screen. Clicking on the complete library will show you all the different YouTube videos that have been created within CloudPM. These videos are very short in nature. They last approximately 3 to 5 minutes and are specific based off of the different headers that you see on this particular screen. If you're interested in going in and learning how to do rate tiers, then you can go ahead and you can click on this particular link, and it'll take you to a short video talking about how to go in and set up rate tiering. Under Contact, on any one of the help sections, MSI Support Access provides you with a customer support number that's available 24/7, 365, as well as an email address in which you can contact our support people. The customer support portal leads you to the section that allows you to go in and chat with one of our experienced support technicians. Providing a first and last name and an email address, you can go in and type in whatever your question may be for our support staff, and they will create a chat with you. This is available 24/7. The knowledge base allows you to access information that may not be covered either in any of the documentation or any of the videos. So for example, if you want to know how to go in and correct a transferred amount, you can click on this particular link and it will take you to information including possible screen print on how to go in, rectify the problem in which you're trying to correct. So in conclusion, if you would like any more information, you can contact us at 1-800-331-7890 or by email at info@msisolutions.com.